Is cool. Cooler than a dog on a skateboard. Okay, I take that back, but we're still pretty cool.
You're listening to The Morning Buzz.
To the Morning Buzz.
To the Morning Buzz.
The Morning Buzz on 90.3.
90.3.
90.3.
90.3 WMSC.
WMSC.
WMSC Upper Montclair.
Upper Montclair, New Jersey.
The Biden administration has stated that 50% of U.S. adults are fully vaccinated. Another 70 million vaccine doses are currently in the distribution pipeline. This is a major milestone in our country's vaccination efforts. Andy Slavit, a White House senior advisor in the COVID-19 response, said during a midday briefing. The number was 1% when we entered office in January. The United States is now pushing towards herd immunity, with the president stating he wishes to see 70% of U.S. adults administered one shot of the COVID-19 vaccine by the 4th of July. In New Jersey news, 1 year after the death of George Floyd and a rise in protests across the nation against police brutality and social injustice, the Paterson Police Department is adding de-escalation.
Girl never changing me. I got a cold down neighbor. I'm losing my gas, and all I ever have to do is pass the test. Come on.
Hello, everybody. This is the Morning Buzz, the Wednesday edition. It is May 26th. This is the Summer Wednesday Morning Buzz. I am the main host of the summer show, Kenny Horn. I am joined by my co-host, Trevor Gioia.
Yo, this is my first time co-hosting.
I'm really excited to co-host with you, Trevor.
Yeah.
Joined by our news contributor, Francis Churchill.
Hello, everyone.
And our sportscaster, Thomas Tartar. Now, before we get going today, I want to introduce ourselves to all of you. You're going to be getting to hear our voices over the next, I don't feel like doing the numbers, however many weeks. So I'm Kenny Horn, like I just said. I am I'm about to be a senior. That's scary. I'm about to be a senior here at Montclair State. And I am a TV DM major for all of you non-Montclair people. That is television, digital media. Boom. And my concentration is TV production. Trevor, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Trevor Gioia. I am a filmmaking major. I guess I'm technically a super senior, technically. It's confusing, but next semester will be my last semester. So this summer, I decided to do the co-hosting with Summer Buzz. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Francis, this is your first time ever on air. I'm excited for you. Tell us about yourself.
I just turned to a junior. I'm a journalism major and political science minor, and I've always been very much interested in radio and broadcasting, so I'm very excited to get started here.
All right, that's great, Thomas. It's up to you now. Don't ruin the streak.
All right. So I should tell everybody a little bit about myself?
Yes, please.
All right. So I've been on the buzz for about a couple of years. So I guess I consider myself somewhat of a veteran. And I'm a political science major with a minor in communications.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Anything else?
My two main interests are sports and government and politics. So
perfect. You're here to be a sportscaster, so that works out. All right. So that is all about us. I hope that we get to know some more about you. If you feel like commenting on our Facebook, our YouTube, everything like that, I really look forward to talking to you all. But before we get started with our first story of the summer, we have our newscast. Francis will present that to us in a second.
This news is brought to you by 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
All right. The Biden administration has stated that 50% of U.S. adults are fully vaccinated. Another 70 million vaccine doses are currently in the distribution pipeline. This is a major milestone in our country's vaccination efforts. Andy Slavy, a White House senior advisor in the COVID-19 response team, said during a midday briefing. The number was 1% when we entered office January 20th. The United States is now pushing towards herd immunity, with President Biden stating he wishes to see 70% of U.S. adults administered one shot of the COVID-19 vaccine by the 4th of July. In New Jersey news, 1 year after the death of George Floyd and a rise in protests across the nation against police brutality and social injustice, the Paterson Police Department is adding de-escalation training to its police officers. It has created a new 7-member task force that includes community members to review and recommend de-escalation policies. 1 year after the George Floyd tragedy, de-escalation is a priority, says Paterson Mayor Andre Sao. In Montclair news, Montclair families have asked about a 5-day in-person elementary class schedule for their children, coming after the district sent out a survey to the school's families as to their preferred schedule for the remainder of the academic year. However, the Montclair Public Schools Central Office has yet to give a committed answer as to whether there will be return to 5-day in-person classes for the remainder of the academic year. In weather, it is currently 70 degrees out, partially cloudy, with highs expected of 90 degrees and lows of 64 degrees.
Thank you, Francis. That was all great. I like that was a good first newscast. That was really good. I look forward to hearing some more.
Yeah,
Thomas?
can't wait to hear some more.
That's
Okay.
right. Thomas, tell me what's going on in sports.
Well, we have a lot of things going on in sports right now. First of all, I just realized that my for those of us on Facebook Live, my hockey background is really old. I literally just saw the old Atlanta Thrashers logo on it, so it's at least over 10 years old. My background, but anyway, now let's dive right into it. Speaking of which, we have to start off with the NHL because I am a huge hockey fan. In the NHL playoffs last night, the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Montreal Canadiens 4-0, with Alex Galchenyuk, the former Canadian, being a large part of the Toronto offense, recording a goal and 2 assists, including 1 assist to Jason Spezza in front of the net, where he made a quick release top shelf goal on Carey Price. Jack Campbell made 32 saves for the shutout win. The Leafs now have a 3-1 series lead over the Canadiens. The Carolina Hurricanes also beat the Nashville Predators last night, with Jordan Staal recording the overtime game winner and Marty Natchez scoring 2 goals, including a highlight reel wraparound goal on Jussi Saros. Tonight we have 3 games, all with teams on the brink of being eliminated from the playoffs. First, the Pittsburgh Penguins will attempt to avoid elimination against the New York Islanders at 6:30. Then at 8, the Florida Panthers will look to avoid elimination against the defending Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. And finally, at 9, the Minnesota Wild will look to avoid elimination to the Vegas Golden Knights. In the NBA playoffs last night, the Brooklyn Nets beat the Boston Celtics 130-108 to take a 2-0 series lead. Joe Harris scored 25 points, making 7 3-pointers, tying the Brooklyn Nets playoff record for most number of 3-pointers in a game. The Los Angeles Lakers beat the Phoenix Suns 109-102, with Anthony Davis taking charge for 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. Finally, the Dallas Mavericks beat the Los Angeles Clippers 127-121, with Luka scoring 39 points in the matchup. Tonight, we will have 3 Game 2 matchups. First, the Philadelphia 76ers will be taking on the Washington Wizards at 7. Then at 7:30, the Atlanta Hawks will be up against the New York Knicks. And finally, at 10, the Memphis Grizzlies will be taking on the Utah Jazz. In the MLB last night, the Philadelphia Phillies beat the Miami Marlins by a score of 2-0. The Toronto Blue Jays beat the New York Yankees by a score of 6-2, and the New York Mets beat the Colorado Rockies by a score of 3-1. Tonight at 6:40, the Philadelphia Phillies will be taking on the Miami Marlins. Then at 7:05, the New York Yankees will be taking on the Toronto Blue Jays, and then the New York Mets will be taking on the Colorado Rockies at 7:10. Now let's go through some quick sports headlines. First, according to the Falcons Wire, Julio Jones was unaware that his phone call with Shannon Sharpe, where he stated that he was out of Atlanta, was on live television. Julio Jones and his agent stated that they were disappointed at the incident. The speculation of Julio Jones leaving Atlanta started when a picture surfaced of him wearing a Dallas Cowboys hoodie. Falcons coach Arthur Smith stated that he had a private discussion with Julio Jones about the phone call incident and was unaware of the hoodie incident until the phone call took place, and stated players may wear attire of any team of their choosing and he will not enforce a dress code on grown men. Wayne Gretzky announced that he will be stepping down as vice chairman of the Edmonton Oilers to become a TNT hockey analyst. Sources state that his friend, fellow TNT analyst Charles Barkley, persuaded Gretzky to become an analyst for TNT. It is not known if the Oilers being swept to the Jets had anything to do with this decision. Kristaps Porzingis is being fined $50,000 for violating the NBA COVID protocol policy by visiting a club on Sunday. He will not miss any of the Mavericks games. However, the league is being criticized for being hypocritical as LeBron James attended a sponsorship event for tequila brand that he has stocks in and was not disciplined. The NBA states that the reason Porzingis was fined and not LeBron is because LeBron was in an event outdoors related to a commercial activity where everyone was required to produce a negative COVID test. And on this day in sports history in 1988, Wayne Gretzky led the Edmonton Oilers to a Stanley Cup title, beating the Boston Bruins 6-3. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Our virtual studio, of course.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky, not the virtual one, the great one, right? That's what they call him. I did that right. See, I know sports. I can hit a baseball puck into a field goal upright. So we are about to start our first story. I'm really excited for it. So I got a question for you. All right, have you heard of this thing? It's new. It's coronavirus.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Never heard of it.
All right, well,
heard of it.
all right. Well, it's this little disease sickness, thing going around, and apparently it's a pretty big deal. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, we all know what it is. I feel like I should say that just in case people don't think I'm actually that just oblivious. But here's the thing. So in New Jersey, we have some new updates on mask requirements recently, and we have some more going on about news in schools, what that's going to look like in the future. And right now, New Jersey's indoor mask mandate to fight the pandemic, it is mostly going to end on this Friday, but not for school students. And that's unlikely to change anytime before the start of the next academic year in the fall, said our governor yesterday morning. Parents in the state, they can expect to send their children to school wearing masks in September because kids under 12 are still ineligible for the vaccine, Murphy said. Trials are ongoing for younger people, but he doesn't expect them to be approved with enough time to make vaccines widely available for kids. Okay, so the governor's administration, they're expected to release guidance sometime in June next month on what school for students will look like in next year. And the state, they've reported 281 in-school coronavirus outbreaks, which have resulted in 1,263 cases among students, teachers, school staff, everybody associated with the school during this academic year. And this is pretty big because the state, they define school outbreaks as cases where contact tracers determined 2 or more students or staff caught COVID-19, and those numbers do not include students or staff believed to have been infected outside of the school, which means that there's even more that have happened that were infected outside the school. What do you all think about this, about the what's the word? Escalation. I was thinking escalators. That's how I remember.
Yeah.
That's how I reminded myself of it. Escalation of taking off masks and
It's
kind of going back to normal, but keeping this.
It's kind of crazy because they're trying to catch up a year of school that was missing for a lot of kids, unfortunately. And the thing is, the whole New Jersey mask mandate, I think it was, I believe last week, it was the last few states to have the mask mandate lifted.
Yeah, we were one of the last ones.
Yeah.
I heard that we were the last, but I can't confirm or deny that.
Yeah.
So what are you all thinking? Francis, hit me.
In terms of, obviously, I think with the inoculation rates, once they reach a level of herd immunity, and that statistically children are much less likely to be affected by the COVID-19 vaccine, there should be testing rates in terms of the long-term effects, and especially examinations and studies of children that have actually contracted COVID-19, especially ones that were in school and contracted it within school, and then see the severities of their COVID-19 cases, and then weigh the options as to whether or not there will be a decision to continually wear masks. And
okay, I have a question, Francis, and it's gonna make me look bad as somebody who has spent, I don't know, 60 something hours at least on air speaking words. What does the word inoculation mean?
It means that someone's been properly and fully vaccinated. They've gotten their 2 COVID shots, meaning that they are obviously not foolproof immune from getting COVID, but they're statistically at
Most
the
likely.
highest safety from being affected.
Pfizer with roughly
Okay.
95%, all that.
It's definitely something that we have to think about, like, it's this idea that how are you going to protect those who are not yet vaccinated, like those like the kids and stuff, like the kids in school. How it's a lot to deal with when you start to think about it, because it's definitely something that Governor Murphy, I respect him for doing that, because we don't know everything that's going to happen in the fall.
Yeah.
I definitely think that the governor's in like a different situation than most other governors in other states, because we're such like a densely populated state. So that's why like the governor's like so careful, like lifting like all these things.
Yeah, we've also had like per capita, considering we're so densely populated, the most per capita deaths of any state in the United States due to COVID-19. And also, my concern and worry is specifically with underfunded, lower income, and majority minority schools that have the lowest inoculation rate out of anyone in the country and have much less resources to protect and help their students if they contract COVID-19. Is that, in my view, it should be based on the amount of funding, resources, and safety standards, and how many of the staff and students are fully vaccinated in terms of what those guidelines are. There are certain places in New Jersey, including like my hometown of Secaucus, that's almost at 80% herd immunity. And then there are other towns where not even, say, 30% are fully vaccinated, and less than half of adults have gotten a COVID vaccine yet or fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
So it really depends where the schools are, and there should be a lot of in-depth work done, especially over the summer, looking where areas are the most vulnerable to COVID-19 outbreaks and which ones need the most resources in terms of getting more people vaccinated and making sure they're funded and protected in case anything were to happen.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good call. I like this. I think Murphy is making the right decision about this because, like the article said, it was approved from 12 to 17, and that was only Pfizer. That's the only one that's approved for a younger age, and that's even not young in comparison when you think about how many Americans there are. So I think that it's taking a necessary precaution to avoid something that could be bad and has been bad. It said, how many was there? 281 in school outbreaks? Was that it? That was the number. Look at me remembering. Go me. What were you saying, Trevor?
Yeah, I was saying that I think recently Moderna says they're working to make their shot for younger kids in their trials, the Moderna shot.
Yeah, there's
the
more.
Moderna vaccine, they're trying to work to get to that point.
Yeah, there's definitely more that's coming. And on that note, we also have another story about New Jersey school, interestingly enough. And this is the St. Teresa School in Kenilworth, New Jersey. We have a story that blew my mind when I read it. So a Catholic school teacher was fired for getting pregnant while unmarried, and she is now taking her case to the New Jersey Supreme Court. So this follows the case of an art teacher. She sued her Catholic school employer when they fired her when she disclosed to them that she was pregnant while unmarried. And the High Court said on Monday that it's going to hear her name. Her name is Victoria Crisatello. That's a fun last name. It's going to hear her case against discrimination claim against the school. It's a case that started. Wait, I want you all to guess this. When do you guys think this case started?
I don't know.
Like,
just guess a year. No, I'm just kidding.
2012, probably.
Wow. Okay, it's okay. Maybe you have a better grasp of the law than I do. 2014. No, I thought this would be kind of recent, but even then, this is still recent development, so it makes sense. This kid is 7 years old, so the year she was terminated was 2014, and she gave birth that same year. She has twice been dismissed by trial court judges in Union County, where the school is, who sided with the school's arguments that she violated the school's moral code and Catholic tenets. Each time, though, state appeal judges have overturned those decisions and found Crisatello as a potential claim under New Jersey's Law Against Discrimination, or LAD, even with the broad exceptions that law gives religious institutions. If there are no evidence that exists that a man can be terminated for engaging in premarital sexual actions that the court can find, a religious school violates the law against discrimination if the school fires a woman for engaging in those acts simply due to pregnancy, because only women, in fact, can become pregnant. just in case you didn't know. But but after the case went back to Union County, a second trial judge again sided with the school's motion to throw out the case, finding, quote, no facts in which a jury could find that St. Teresa's discriminated against Crisatello due to her being pregnant or unmarried. She was fired, the judge ruled, for violating the tenets of the Catholic faith. So, okay, I'm gonna say some words right now. I am not happy about this. I think that, first of all, well, I guess this is her employer. They can make their own rules. I don't think that is right to be able to file it. It reminds me, in a way, if you're filling out a job application and you're putting your race and your gender and all of that on the form, you can't be discriminated for stuff like that. And this is almost, in my mind, a reverse situation of that, where you are trying to be employed at a religious institution, and that institution, because they're a school, they're not even a religious institution. They're a school with religious backing. In my mind, they can fire you for not following something that is what I think should not be allowed by law, being pregnant for being unmarried. I have a real problem with that. What do you all think?
I just look at this and just feel so bad for her, and just feel like it's something that I've never thought about, because like you think about like, oh, religious schools and Catholic schools, like even like it's something that really grinds my gears when you see something like a person who's genuinely fired for something that they did. And it's frustrating to see this. It is.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're saying it's a private, it's a school with Catholic backing. It's not a Catholic school.
No, it's a Catholic school.
Oh, it is a Catholic school.
It's a Catholic school.
Okay, but I don't. What happened in the first place? Like, did she like get pregnant and then like divorce, or did she just kind of like?
No, she was just unmarried when she got pregnant, which happens to millions of people.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, I don't think. I also, especially considering the judge. So the judge specifically said that the reason, like he ruled and stated that she was fired for violating the tenets of the Catholic faith. I don't see how religious views have any place in any judge's ruling whatsoever.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the separation of government
and state. Yeah, there's a reason that was stated in the Constitution clearly. And again, it is discrimination because, again, only women can be pregnant. So then hypothetically, if, again, a man literally cannot be fired for getting pregnant because he cannot get pregnant. So again, it is discrimination against women because you're firing her for engaging in something that millions of Americans engage in all the time, and then you're firing them because you believe it violates the Catholic faith. And it's incredibly hypocritical for them to do that, to try and take a religion that supposedly espouses loving and understanding one another, and then judging someone for engaging in something that everyone engages in, and then firing them for it. And then specifically with all the recent news that had come out about the Catholic Church covering up abuses against children over the years, and them knowing about it and them continually hiding it, and then even helping, certain priests that had committed these abuses hide from law enforcement in and of itself, for them to go out of their way and say, well, we fired her for violating the tenets of the Catholic faith, in my opinion, is absolutely disgusting and absurd.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's like you were saying, it's the separation of church and state. It's something that fundamentally, when this country was founded, was not supposed to belong together. And I find the fact that while they are saying it is lawful that she was fired, that it's pretty messed up. And I like to propose a little bit of a situation, okay? And while I can't speak to if this is what happened or not, I don't think it was. I'm giving a hypothetical. So let's say that this is a teacher that's been with a man for 15 years, and they just, I don't know, they don't support the institution of marriage, okay? And they get pregnant, they decide to start a family, okay? What happens in that case? They're practically together, and it's the exact same thing for the most part. They're just not actually married. And that's even while I'm sure this is not what happened, that's another situation where logically and in society, it makes sense for them to do what they're doing. And in this case, while it's not like that, at least I'm assuming, it's really messed up, I believe, the separation there.
I think what you brought up in the hypothetical is the idea of like the norms we put on marriage and stuff like that, especially in certain religions like the Catholic faith. I don't know much about Catholic faith, but I do know the fact that they are really protective of those things when it comes to marriage and stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a former Catholic, and my dad was a Sunday school teacher, and I used to be very religious and used to be an altar boy. And specifically with the institution of marriage, it's something that's held and revered very much highly. They don't recognize, actually, I mean, there are certain churches that do, but the institutions and the main base of the Catholic faith is that you can only be married once. Say hypothetically, if you're Catholic and you get divorced, the church will not recognize that second marriage. So there are certain individual churches that will, but the main position of the Catholic authority is to not recognize that. So it's a very much archaic and old view of marriage, and to see judges even apply it today is just another in one of a million examples of the issue with the legal court system, and the fact that old archaic ideas are influencing judges' important legal decisions and are affecting people's lives, because now they just lost a huge source of income, and their reputation in and of itself has been almost in a sense ruined because that has been publicized, and people, especially women that have to deal with this all the time in sorts of personal issues, dealing with this, being judged by people and being judged by figures of authority in the media is also another example of sexism and misogyny that goes on, and even in the legal system in and of itself. The fact that the judge thought it was appropriate for a woman to be fired because she violated the tenets of the Catholic faith is basically the judge saying that she is immoral for getting pregnant while not being married, which is an absolutely disgusting view.
Yeah, and I'd like to think about how every job, every workplace, they have rules about what to do, what not to do, as they should. You shouldn't steal somebody's lunch out of the fridge, for example. And rules are a good thing, but I think getting into the point where it can infringe upon their beliefs, because this does infringe upon her belief of what is right because she's pregnant without being married. It violates what she thinks is right. I think that's going into an area, it's crossing a boundary to where they shouldn't be able to set a rule,
Yeah, it's the idea where it goes. I like what Francis said about this idea of church and separation of state, which is brought up in the Constitution. It's this idea of how we need to separate from the fact that we can't make decisions by our religion. We have to make decisions for the right side of law and moralities, and the moral, and the law of just and fair and justice in society, if that makes sense.
Well, yes, we are a country founded on religious freedom, but she signed. I think the reason why this is so I think that I don't know how to say really. The implications of this case is the religious background of the school. I'm sure she I don't think she expected the pregnancy, but she knew, she signed on to be a teacher at Catholic school knowing that there was a set of morals that the Catholic school follows with students and teachers.
Okay. That I do agree with, that she did sign on. But what I think is that a school, even though they are a Catholic school based around religion, and that's what their teachings and their morals reflect, they shouldn't be able to set rules going that far, I think.
I don't think even legally they're considering they're firing a teacher for that type of conduct. That again,
Us, New Jersey Supreme Court.
Expert. Yeah, I'm not a complete legal expert on that, but that very much rings
none of us are
of discrimination. Now, depending as to whether the courts will see it that way, obviously, several courts have certain opinions and they have certain rulings backing what they believe to be religious liberty. But at what point does it not become your religious liberty of an institution to discriminate against someone based on their sex? Because again, she is being fired for something that only can happen to a woman that they believe violates the tenets of Catholic faith. And then, as we've seen throughout history, when there's much more severe offenses committed by people within Catholic institutions that are actually wanted criminal acts, the Catholic institution was more than happy to not only protect them, but to stay quiet and try and suppress any information of that coming out. So again, I think, like, again, she agreed to sign on, but I don't think when she signed on, any of the, information that she signed on to said that you can't get pregnant while you're not married.
Well, it may, for argument's sake, it may have followed something along those lines. We don't know that for a fact. We can't predict that.
Yeah, it's like we don't know what the contract said in that when she first wrote it back, when she first signed it. We didn't know what the contract says, and we don't know if in the contract it says morality clause or something like that.
Yeah, and
we don't know that stuff.
Yeah, and a lot.
Yeah, that would definitely be a large point of discussion. I definitely agree with the point that there is hypocrisy within the Catholic faith, just like there is hypocrisy with politics and Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah, and Trevor, you brought up clauses and signing things and all that, and a lot of times other institutions, a lot of other programs, even like Facebook, Twitter, they have problems just like that, where a lot of their terms of agreement can cause problems. And coming up next, we're going to take a little bit of a break, but we have a story about how Facebook and Twitter are potentially going to be blocked today on May 26th in India. And Trevor, he is going to tell us a whole bunch about that story, but we will be right back here in the Morning Buzz at 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Tune in anytime, anywhere at WMSCradio.com and the iHeartRadio app.
More than 5 million Americans live with Alzheimer's, but less than half are ever diagnosed. Close family members who know their loved ones best are typically the first to notice memory issues or cognitive problems, but they are often hesitant to say something, even when they know something is wrong. While acknowledging why your loved one may be acting differently is hard, it can be critical, as early detection of Alzheimer's can make a difference in managing the disease. Most people are unaware of the substantial benefits of early diagnosis and avoid taking the first step to getting help, having the tough conversation with their loved one when they notice changes in their attitude or behavior. To learn more, visit alz.org/ourstories. This ad is brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association, the Ad Council, and this station.
Every day across this country, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air, broadcasting music and programming that you won't hear anywhere else.
It's one of the last places where people can really be able to actually say what they want to say.
Without it, you wouldn't have a place for local artists to perform. Certain people need to have a chance, a fighting chance, and college radio is that place for it.
College radio changes the lives of those who are involved with it and can change those who listen to it too.
This is where we start out, from getting all this great experience working in college radio. It makes you want to work in real radio.
College radio means finding yourself. It helped me find what I wanted to do in not only school, but in life.
So support college radio by continuing to listen to this station and supporting the students who make it happen. College radio, now, more than ever. A message brought to you by this station and the College Radio Foundation. For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
We are back here at the Morning Buzz. That was a surprise. I didn't even think I was going to do that until the last 5 seconds. Boom.
2014 MLG.
No, 20. That's such a meme back in the day.
I try. But we are back here as the Wednesday edition of the Morning Buzz throughout the summer of 2021.
Yo.
This is what you get when I'm behind the board, a whole bunch of sound effects. But we have more news stories. Trevor, bring us up to speed what's going on with Facebook and Twitter.
Facebook and Twitter is currently may possibly be blocked in India on May 26th. Basically, what's going on down there is Facebook, Twitter may be banned in India if they do not follow and comply with the new intermediate guidelines. These guidelines are a set of like rules and ways of like making social media easier to like blockchain and stuff, like to block certain things and to make it more clear, like just to get rid of some of the fake news and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because they have problems with the news, with the fake news and stuff like that.
Yeah. When you were telling me about this story last night, you mentioned you have a friend in India. Can you tell me
Yeah.
about how they feel about this?
Currently, he said like it's been crazy because they thought basically what their perspective on it was it's not great because it was a matter of like stressing out about like whether or not they're going to shut down Discord, they're going to shut down Twitter, they're going to shut down Facebook.
This
they're
would
going to
include
shut
Discord?
Yeah, this would include
Wow.
Discord. This would include like Netflix and other streaming platforms. Basically, my friend compared it to fascism and basically said, we're starting to get to a fascist state in India, but we don't know when it will happen.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. You just
Yeah.
brought up what your friend said. I feel like I have to stress that what your friend said of fascism. We did not say that. None of us did. But that's a good point, though, that it's getting very controlled. And can you explain more about why this would be happening?
Why it's currently happening is because of due to COVID, what's going on with COVID-19 in India and higher rates and stuff like that. They're trying to alleviate some of the fake news and pressure off the hospitals, basically.
Okay.
Basically, it's been like, so like Facebook and Twitter in America has been not great with fake news, but it's worse from what I hear in India. It's like 10 times worse.
So this is a method for the government, or at least this is what I'm hearing, to try to face less outbreaks of fake information.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, while I do think that's a valiant effort and that's something that they should strive to do, is try to keep to the truth of things, I feel like this is the wrong way to go about it.
It is. It's a really wrong way to go about it because what they're basically doing is controlling what people see and controlling what people have access to.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're a little kid and you're playing with a toy and you accidentally hurt somebody with the toy and they just take it away from you. You got to be taught how to play with the toy, okay? I don't know what that just meant. Someone else speak, all right? Get me off.
It's a euphemism for social media, but also there's another major factor that happened both earlier in the year in 2021 and back in 2020. There were massive farmer protests and peasant movements throughout India where over 200 million people, and that is a statistical fact, were protesting against the Indian government wanting their land resources back. And there was a massive crackdown by the Indian police, and several certain cities, including the capital in New Delhi, their internet was completely shut down during that moment by the Indian government. And several people and journalists speaking out against the Indian government were jailed. So there has already been an effort to crack down on internet from years of 2019 onward due to this massive economic uprising within India and the social uprising against the essentially 1% class of India because of the sheer amount of both economic inequality within India as the government sees record amounts of profits, and yet, especially now due to COVID, there is record amounts of Indian people living in poverty. So then there was already a concerted effort back in 2020, even before COVID, to control internet and shut down internet or censor Twitter and have new guidelines on Twitter, and even several Indian government officials were talking about implementing a system very similar to the Great Firewall that the Chinese government uses to control internet information.
That's right, the Great Firewall of China. Sorry,
Yeah.
I couldn't resist.
So we've already seen this effort before. So I'm sure, there is some people within India that do want to control the amount of fake information that goes on, but from the very top-down government, based on their actions, it seems much more that they are trying to prevent social uprising within the country and are trying to hold on to their position of power as much as they can with COVID exploding within India. So I also feel it's a much more preventing people from organizing against the government, speaking out against the government, and controlling the narrative, which is a dangerous precedent, especially considering that India was held up as quite literally the largest democracy in the world with over 1 billion people partaking in elections. And now to see the quote unquote largest democracy in the world engage in very authoritarian behavior and controlling on social media is incredibly disheartening, in my view.
It is completely disheartening. I want.
Yeah. Did you say 250 million people protested? When was it?
It was back from it's been continually on and off going since 2019. There's been several farmer protests. Again, the mainstream media legitimately has given this almost no attention, and it's been very much blacked out by the Indian government in and of itself. But there's been hundreds of millions of people continually protesting throughout India because of their land being taken back to the higher and richer classes, or being seized and controlled over by the government, or not getting the economic assistance that they believe they deserve due to COVID. So there's been massive protests and riots, especially within central India, both near the Deccan Trapped region of India and also near the capital as well. So there's been continual uprisings within India, and this has been going on before COVID, and COVID essentially exacerbated this. And we saw massive protests even this year within India due to the overwhelming amount of COVID cases spiking in the state of India. So there's already been, for the last few years, massive social unrest in India, and it's the largest protest movement in human history. And then we've already seen the government continually crack down, and now this is essentially their next step to try and completely control the narrative.
Yeah. So 250 million people. Okay. I want to frame this a little bit. 250 million people. That's about it's going to sound like a big number. That's maybe 70, 80 million off of what the American population is. Okay. That's the entire population of the entire country here. And not only that, that is a quarter of India. Okay. That is significant. That would be if 1 in every 4 Americans protested something. Even with what happened with even with what happened with George Floyd, we didn't even see numbers like that. Where was that many people? We had a lot of people protesting, and rightfully so, but we didn't even see 1 in 4. So that just proves how big of a deal this is.
It's one of those things that my friend also brought up. He said they do control a lot of the news stations in India. And so they're also starting to control a lot of the news stations. And the banks are, from what he told me and from what I've also heard about, is the banks are just not as good on paper as they say they are.
Yeah. Yeah, Thomas, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, like, the social media has become like a big issue today, and this is their way of like kind of like censorship and like preventing an uprising. But I think it's also the way to prevent like fake news and like COVID and misinformation. Because you're starting to see some like this stuff here, like that's more controversial. I mean, not like to this degree, obviously, but like you're starting to see some like some like censorship and like banning of like false information, and but not like of like entire platforms. You're just like seeing like some of the information on the platforms here in the United States.
Yeah, and
I see like the fact checkers like all the time on like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, it's certain that a lot does need to be done in way of fact checking and making sure that the correct information is being disseminated. And I think that this is not the right way to go about it, I'm gonna say, but that's enough for what's going on around the world.
Yeah, one thing I can just say is just make sure that like you have like all the facts. Like don't just like read something think it's true.
Yes. Make sure you're getting correct information. But we have some more news about America, and we're going to keep it a little bit more lighthearted now. We're going to talk about something that I'm just going to say. I have to say this. I'm sorry, but I think it's just unacceptable. We have Cicada pizza. Cicada, I don't know how you say it. Yes, Cicada pizza and Nymph spring salad. It's what's for dinner, everybody. So in case you haven't heard, trillions of brood X cicadas are emerging for the first time in 17 years. After spending most of their lives underground, these critters are coming out for a massive mating season, and they're currently showing up in 15 U.S. states and Washington, D.C. as well, leading to some deterrent pest control. But there is another way, and it's natural to manage all the insects. Eat them. That's right. Now, why would you do that if there's so many other arguably less creepy things to eat? Well, there are a lot of people looking for alternative ways to consume protein and necessary nutrients that you get to offset the environmental impact of consuming regular animals such as chicken, cattle, all that, for instance, and that requires a lot of space, water, other resources. Insects, though, on the other hand, they emit fewer greenhouse gases and they can boast even more protein than meat. So, oddly enough, if you search Google right now for cicada recipes and you pull up several ways to cook various species of these insects, yummy, from topping your pizza with them to squeezing them between some bread, if you want some extra crunch, extra meaty in your sandwich. Twitter has been buzzing about these conversations with these meal ideas, and Chef Joseph Yoon is sharing a bunch of different ways to eat the cicadas through his Instagram and Twitter account called, here it is, Brooklyn Bugs. I've even seen TikToks of it where people make, and I thought it was a joke, but nope, then they just start eating it. Experts, if you want to eat a cicada, here's how you do it. Experts say it's best to eat cicadas just after the nymphs have climbed out of their skin when they're nice and soft. Just go outside with a paper bag, scoop them up, cook them, save them in the fridge, freezer, do whatever for later if you want to. All right, so I got a question for you all, and this is my first thought. How much money would it take for you each to eat a cicada?
0. It's all natural, vegan, environmentally friendly protein. You want to do your part and help saving the planet. You want to help get those gains, make your summer body a fruition. Then go get a giant
Gotta get a juicy one.
Get a giant fish net, swing it around in the air, catch a bunch of cicadas, cook them, and eat them. It's much healthier for you and your long-term health than say steak.
Okay, now give me some serious answers.
Can I say
that was half serious?
No amount of money, will get me to eat a cicada.
Seriously,
no amount of money.
You have to be adventurous.
All right, no.
I would do it for $100. Easy.
This goes back to fear factor for me.
Okay.
This goes back to fear factor. I'm not doing anything that's going to
$1 million. I will give you $1 billion. It will change your entire life. You won't have to do a single thing. That won't do it. You won't eat a cicada.
I'll eat a cicada for $1 billion.
See, there's always a price.
There's always a price for anything, and you would. You're just because, again, especially in U.S. culture, eating insects isn't considered normalized, but in several other cultures, people do it all the time.
Delicacy.
It's a delicacy, and it's very nutritious and healthy. Just because you think, even if it visually doesn't look appealing, doesn't mean it doesn't taste good.
No. Oh wow, it probably tastes like chicken. I feel like everything tastes like chicken. That's not my point. So I'd probably do it for around $50, maybe $100.
I was looking at some of the pictures of them because this is the first time I'm hearing about this, and some of them actually look. Some of them look more appealing to me than others.
No,
I don't know.
Unacceptable!
I definitely noticed that the lighter skinned ones kind of looked more appealing to me than the ones that were more darker.
It's just your opinion, how you see it. I don't really see a difference between the shades. But
I was looking at this one right here, this. It's basically peas, string beans, and it's the ones in the brown shell.
Hey,
here we have it. We have it for you, Facebook Live watching. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, this is cicada nymph spring salad.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so what you're gonna do? It's a nice appetizer. All right.
So a lot of protein.
Yeah, protein. So you're gonna throw them into a little nice salad. Get some asparagus, peas, red onions, chili, garlic.
Look at that protein. Look at all that food.
Bunch of stuff.
Imagine someone posts that to their Snapchat or Instagram story of them eating food, and then the first thing you see is the cicada salad.
That's right. This is chili guacamole. Okay.
See, this is all I think about is
kimchi. I don't know what that is.
All I think about is the Blade Runner.
That looks really appetizing.
Well, here's why it looks appetizing, Francis. I can't even see a bug in there.
No.
It's all smushed up. It's like bug soup.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
This is a chocolate cicada.
I was trying to figure out what that was. I
Yeah.
read the title. I'm like, oh, it's chocolate.
Yeah, it's got nice gold foil and everything. We got Cicada ramen. Come on.
Ramen.
I think I'll put them in stores soon. Like I can buy them like in the cup.
In the ramen.
Yeah,
cup,
Cicada
yeah.
flavored. Yeah. And we can't forget this. Cicada pizza. Come on. Come on.
They better have a deep dish.
I do have a bit of a question about this one though. Why are the cicadas a different color in this one? Maybe they're covered in some
Different
kind of
species.
sauce.
I would,
Basil. See,
I would have to assume just like different species and where it's like usually made.
Maybe. I'm
I
going
don't
with the
know,
basil
like,
though.
where this pizza was made.
So, all right, if you had to eat any of these dishes, which one? Come on.
I'd probably eat the cicada
Chocolate.
pizza.
Chocolate?
I'd eat it with the gold wrapping on it. I wouldn't take it off. I'd eat the gold wrapping with
Good
it.
call. It's extra protection. That's that way you get more well, I don't know. You get iron from eating gold. That's
You get
that is not
iron and
true.
It helps
listeners.
harden your teeth. It conditions your teeth.
Yes, what he said. That is not true. Don't do any of that. Don't do that to anybody.
I would go for the cicada pizza because that one actually looks kind of appetizing to me.
Okay, but imagine getting closer to it, and as you take a bite, you just see bug eyes staring at you.
Like just the bug eyes, yeah.
Yeah,
You put it inside your mouth,
it
you start feeling the bug move inside your mouth.
I'm going kimchi.
Oh God, no. That thought of like the bug moving around in my mouth,
I'm going kimchi because I can't see them.
Yeah, I'm going either with the chocolate or the string bean thing on the
Yeah,
top.
if you have a weak stomach, go with the kimchi.
I don't have a weak stomach. I just don't want to eat bugs. But I'm here. I'm going to say something even crazier right now. I would rather.
Wait. It says right there with 24 karat gold.
It's not actual gold. It's not actual gold. But all right. You're gonna call me weird here. I'd rather eat cicadas than I would rather eat chocolate.
Really?
I hate chocolate with a passion. Chocolate is the worst thing on the planet.
Is it?
Don't worry.
Is it the aftertaste? Is it the burn aftertaste you get in your throat after?
There's an
eating chocolate?
aftertaste.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
No, it's just terrible. It just makes me gag, and I hate it, and it's the worst thing.
Do you have a condition?
Don't worry.
I don't have a condition. Well, I'm not allowed to have fun, and that's part of and that contributes to it. No, I'm kidding. But
Kenny, don't worry. My brother doesn't eat chocolate, so it's not weird.
We're not alone. Where I got people who share with me. But let's move on. We got some more stories about food. This is another weird one, except I would eat this one in a heartbeat. So, what is the biggest thing that you have ever eaten? Okay, that's my question for you all.
Probably some of the Vermonster from Ben Jerry's.
What's a Vermonster?
It's like 1, 2, 3, 10 or like 16 scoops of ice cream in one bucket.
Pretty good. Francis, Thomas?
I had a lobster once from Red Lobster, a whole lobster, and I remember one time when I was trying to like crack it open with the shell was so big and sharp that I actually split my hand open.
Wow. Okay, Thomas.
Wow, biggest thing I've ever eaten. Probably I don't know. I like order from like probably like I thought you meant big as in like popular, but like probably like the biggest. I usually don't eat like big things. I usually eat like mass quantity of things. So like Thanksgiving style, like type.
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, that counts. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, biggest thing I've ever eaten is 22 White Castle sliders. Yeah, that was tough. One of my life goals is to eat an entire Crave case, which is 30. But what I'm getting at
That's disgusting.
That's why I want to do it. That's not the point though. So we have something even more disgusting because I think it's beautiful. A 510 foot cheesesteak.
Oh my
you
God.
cheesesteak lovers out there, me included.
With or without?
With or without what?
No, with or without. Like with
I
or
don't get
without
it.
cheese, with or without onions.
I don't get it. Am I supposed to get it?
No, it's like without onions or with onions. No.
With onions. I'm confused. Well, here's the thing.
Asking the toppings of the enormous cheesesteak. If there's any absurd like.
Well, they have a whole bunch of different ones in it, but here's the story. So Philadelphia guy makes sense. Philadelphia.
Of course, it's from Philly.
Exactly, makes sense. He celebrated his birthday by having a bunch of chefs A simple cheesesteak that, like I said, 510 feet long. Renee Kobaitri, owner of the Rim Cafe. That's a good question. Renee Kobaitri, owner of the Rim Cafe, he recruited a team of chefs to build this sandwich that was over 2 blocks long. He did this on Monday night, and he said, quote, "I want to make it big. Make a big party for everyone, so why not bring everyone together and have a couple thousand people?" Sure, why not? So Kobaitri said that the cheesesteak, he's going to submit it for an official Guinness World Record, but whether or not it's accepted, he plans to already outdo this accomplishment, as he calls it. The next one, quote, is going to be more crazy. Get ready, baby. That's actually what he said. And he says he's going to make it happen. So what are your predictions? What do you think he's doing?
I think he's going
Is he
for.
gonna build cheesesteak, or is he going to build some other sort of food?
He's got to build something else. I mean, he's already done this. It's just repeating himself.
I don't know. I personally think
He
he
should
might.
make like a 500-foot tall ice cream cone.
Of course not. Why would he do that? Actually, no. That's actually not a bad idea. I take that back. I take that back. There's a problem with that. There's a problem with that, though.
What?
It'll melt. And if it is out of cardboard, that's not authentic. Then he's just a poser. Do you want to be a poser?
No.
I mean, hey, everyone's trying to get clout now these days, so may as well go for it.
I think the idea might be like another like some form of like hot dogs. Like the world's longest hot dog, which is French, with this French bread and stuff like that.
Okay, I'm sure that's got
and just a Chicago dog.
I have some other ideas. So I'm still waiting for New York Man to make the biggest pizza.
That is okay. Wait, but back it up. New York Man.
Yeah, I don't know if that actually exists. But
No. New Jersey Man. All right. Yeah. There is not much I have state pride for, but pizza and Taylor ham pork roll. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Whatever you want to call it.
I was going to say New Jersey Man was going to make the biggest like Taylor ham pork roll thing on it.
Why not give us both? It can be the same guy.
It can be the same guy.
Yeah. Just give us a Taylor ham and pork roll. Like that would be the biggest thing ever in New Jersey.
Now I got to ask you all a question. What do you call it? Pork roll, Taylor ham. Taylor ham. Okay.
Taylor ham. I love North Jersey.
Are you from North Jersey?
No, I'm actually from Central Jersey, but I feel like I've blood in me.
Francis?
And yes, it exists.
Wait, it doesn't exist?
Oh no, we got one of those. We got one of those. Okay. Oh, that is gonna be rough. Okay. Francis, what do you call it?
I don't even, there's not even really, I mean, other than like a generic, like, I don't know, Mario's Pizza, maybe, if you want to get.
No, what? Taylor ham pork roll.
No. In terms of, I mean, I call it both. That's what's funny.
Oh, okay. I've done that. I've purposely said the opposite to make people mad, but generally I will call it Taylor ham, which is funny because I'm from South Central, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I'm from North Jersey, and I call it both. I don't even get why people even care. It's pretty weird.
That's part of the fun. You get to mess with people. Who doesn't like messing with people?
It doesn't like messing with people from
it's
South
fun,
Jersey.
but then people take it to heart.
Well, that's the kind of person that's just like,
oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Right. Right.
Yep. Right.
All right, that's going to wrap it up here for today on the Wednesday edition of the Morning Buzz. This is the first time in the summer that this crew has been together. Just first time this crew has been together in general. I have been host of the show, Kenny Horn, joined by my co-host, Trevor Gioia, joined by our newscaster, Francis Churchill,
Heyo,
and our sportscaster, Thomas Tarter. Thank you all for listening. And we will be back again tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'll be back, actually. I'm going to be on there 2 days in a row. I'm scared.
What a trooper.
I try. That's why I'm the producer.
Yeah, you're doing good.
That's why I'm the producer. But I will be on air with Isaiah Ramirez. He is also a first-time host. Actually, second-time host. I take that back. We'll be back tomorrow on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. I will talk to you then.
You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, New Jersey.